Well, I recently picked up Batman Arkham City on Steam, and I played it years ago on the Xbox 360, and as I'm going through this game again, I have to ask a question. Is this the best video game of the previous generation, the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation, or the 7th console generation? And as I'm going through this game with a little bit of hindsight, I really think that it is. And let me give you my reasoning for that. First of all, it is a great setting. One of the things that developers did really well, starting, I think, in the 7th generation, is that the art design, their ability to create a sense of place, really was elevated. It may not have been so clear at the start of the 7th generation, but towards the end, you had these tremendous vistas in games, these tremendous locations. And I think Arkham City is one of the best. It's so densely packed. It's really what you imagined Gotham City to be like. It's the perfect setting for Batman. Secondly, the controls are spot on. If you think back to Arkham Asylum, you got a little taste of what Batman could be on a modern console. And of course, there they developed the combat system that I think stands as one of the best combat systems in games. But in Arkham City, they took that further. Not only did you have that same combat system, it felt a little bit more fluid. You really had the sense of being able to string so many combos together, which of course boosted your XP, so you always had a reason to get in to fights. You add to that the fact that you could traverse the city like Batman, and all the different, as you sort of upgraded your equipment, all the different things that you could do. You felt in control of this, post-apocalyptic, hellhole type jail. You actually felt like Batman. I think that is an incredible achievement. Then number 3, the voice acting. Terrific voice acting. I think most of the voices from the early 90s cartoon were there, including Mark Hamill as the Joker, and really well done cutscenes. Cutscenes that didn't sort of force themselves on you, but just really flowed nicely in the development of the narrative. This was not trying to be a movie, but in making you feel like Batman with the aforementioned controls and location, they weave the cutscenes in just a very seamless, kind of fluid way. And you were always looking forward to these voice acting performances as you went through the game. It also was a game that gave you engaging, rational type quests. So the Riddler trophies, the Catwoman stuff, all the different, finding the Riddler's informants and things like that. You didn't feel forced to do it. And yes, once you went down those paths, it felt a little repetitive. But the way that those secondary tasks, those side quests, were sort of woven into the environment, I think is really, really well done. Not many games do that as well today. Now you're probably saying, well, wait a minute, there are games like Skyrim in this generation and The Last of Us, 2 games that come to mind that sort of may take the crown from Arkham City. And I'll just throw out some ideas why I think Arkham City stands above those games. First of all, Skyrim, one of the greatest games ever made. Just a sprawling RPG, as we all know. But Skyrim had a lot of technical issues on launch. Those Bethesda games, for whatever reason, they haven't been able to iron out a lot of those technical flaws. Plus, Skyrim was great because of all the modding. When you got Skyrim looking as good as it could look, and we've even seen that with the official Bethesda, high-res release that they were trying to sell a couple of years ago. Yeah, then Skyrim was at its best, but of course, on release, if you go back to that very, very original Skyrim, not as polished as Arkham City. And then The Last of Us, to me, that's a game that, it's not one of my games personally. I think it focuses a little too heavily on the film narrative, whereas I think that the Batman game, above all, Arkham City, is fun to play. It remains incredibly fun to play. Runs well on the PC, so if you can pick it up on the PC, go for it. It's, I think, an incredible achievement, and now we have a little bit of distance from when it was launched, I think 2011, 7 years hindsight. I think it's time to recognize this as one of the best achievements, if not the best achievement in that generation. And, parting thought, still better than Arkham Origins, which just felt like kind of a rehash, not as good as Arkham City. And then Arkham Knight, which was just mired in technical difficulties and had those sort of forced Batmobile tank missions that I think a lot of people hated. Arkham City still stands above the two games that followed it, and I think is going to go down as one of the greatest video games of all time.